where do you place the Patriots in the AFC going into next year, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put them at the top. And, when I looked at, kind of the way this played out, and, I don't want this to come the wrong way.
Sure.
But I felt New England getting to the Super Bowl was ahead of schedule. And when, we were heading into the Super Bowl, I don't know if I considered them what I would normally consider a Super Bowl team. Like, a team that's good enough to run through the playoffs. I think they were fortunate to get some breaks in the playoffs. And again, they earned the right to be there. You play the games in front of you, you play who's in front of you, and you have to beat who's in front of you. And they did all of that. And so, they deserve to be there from that standpoint. I just didn't know if I felt, from top to bottom that this team was ready to compete on that stage. It's so young on offense, a second-year quarterback who had an unbelievable year, struggled in the playoffs, and all of that stuff kind of came to fruition in the game. I thought they did a really nice job on defense. Thought Christian Gonzalez was maybe the best player on the field, and thank goodness for him, because if he doesn't play as well as he does, this thing could have been even more ugly. Yeah, he made a number of really special
that's
plays.
What you were referring to before, with him breaking up this Raheed Shaheed.
Exactly.
And also, by the way, I thought Darnold had JSN for a touchdown right before the end of the first half, and Gonzalez undercut that ball and knocked it away. He almost picked it off. That almost was 0 points for Seattle at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was one of the missed throws that I thought Sam Darnold had in the game, because he had JSN there.
He did
a nice job looking off the safety. Just, to me, threw it too flat. Should have thrown it up over the top. But you're right. Gonzalez was able to recover from getting beat and get back in there and make a play. So I thought New England was a good team. I didn't think they were a great team. And so with that being said, and with that playing out throughout the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, I don't put them on the top of my list in the AFC. Now, that doesn't mean this young offense can't make great strides, and next year be a better football team and be a better offensive football team. But just knowing what we have on the AFC side, that they were able to squeak by Denver, but that was without their starting quarterback in Bo Nix. So I think Denver's going to be back. They were number 1 seed this year. We know Buffalo's going to be around, and you have to believe that Baltimore's going to be back, and Kansas City, assuming Patrick gets healthy. All those guys in the mix and all those quarterbacks in the mix, makes me drop New England back a little bit, even though they were the representative in the Super Bowl. And I'm going to have to see more from their offense next year, and more key components kind of step up to think that, they're going to, go into the season, or, somewhere in the season, move back into that number 1 spot.
And of course, I'm asking you this the Wednesday after the Super Bowl. Let's just say, and again, at this point last year, the Seahawks didn't have Darnold or Kupp, just to name 2. And clearly, if I had asked you about the Seahawks' chances after last year's Super Bowl, you'd be like, "Get out of here! What's your malfunction?"
Right.
And just to throw it out there, let's just say the Patriots somehow pull off a trade and get A.J. Brown for Drake May, or Will Campbell comes back stronger, and they hit the line in the draft, and they hit gold there too. Everything you just said clearly can be enhanced. So I see. I'm trying to help cover the tracks of me asking you a sports talk radio question like this, Kurt. You know what I mean?
But I mean, I think you're right. I mean, they were just a very young offensive football team, and that youth showed up, whether it showed up in the game plan that they had to have in the Super Bowl, because it's like, we can't pull out all the stops. We can't add a bunch of stuff for the Super Bowl, which is maybe what Josh McDaniels does if he's got Tom Brady and a bunch of veteran guys there. They had to keep it more simplistic, and they had to try to do what they had done all year. And, we always say that, players make their greatest strides from year 1 to year 2 as they get acclimated with it. So, Will Campbell had some struggles, and obviously we know now he had an injury that he was dealing with. And so, you feel like he's going to get better. Some of the young receivers on the outside. So again, I'm just going based off of what I saw and how it finished this year. But I think you're fully right. This was a team that won 4 games a year ago, and now they win 14 and they find themselves in the Super Bowl. So to think that they can't make a huge jump forward or a leap forward is crazy. I'm simply just going off of, last time on the field or the stretch in the playoffs. what I felt is their football team going in.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.